The IEC's Western Cape Provincial Operational Centre here in Cape Town. I'm Vanessa Puna, and Professor Cheryl Africa joins me for some analysis throughout this broadcast. Now, excitement is building up in the province with the lion's share of voting districts now declared. The parties at present are the DA at 54%, the ANC on 29%, EFF on about 3.7% at this stage, and a newcomer Good on 3%. Now, reactions to the results have been streaming in across the province. Our reporter Corbin August spoke to some people at the Century City taxi rank a short while ago. Let's hear what they have to say.
To be honest, the vote, it shows me nothing. Man. ANC promises a lot, DA promises a lot. Nothing is happening. The only time you see them is when it's election time. I don't know what are they advertising. Help us, man. Then we help you.
To be honest with you, locally concerns me because I'm a local guy. Local is lekker in the DA. They just talk, but locally they must rule. Nationally, I don't care. ANC, DNA, they just promises me, bro. They deliver. What they deliver? Nothing. When do you see them? Elections. Next 4 years time you see them. That's the only thing.
You see, to me, it makes no material effect. It didn't affect me. I don't see any changes. So whoever runs the show, I know it's all puppets. But behind the curtain, there is somebody pulling strings. So for us, it doesn't matter. You know what I'm trying to say? If it can make a difference for us, even if the ANC should take over, we at least want to see a roof. That's an example of what we want. You see something that's a change, then I would vote. But otherwise, voting means nothing to me. It's just another piece of gimmick, money-making machine.
I don't feel good. I don't want the DA to be again here in Western Cape because the DA didn't do nothing to us, you see. Because I'm going to be happy if the ANC is going to get this province because the DA didn't do nothing for us. So that's why I'm not happy now so long. I'll be happy to ANC separate.
Of most importance is the issue of security in South Africa. I'm worried about that. I think it's compromised, and that is why we have a huge rate of drug use, drug abuse, and so forth. So I think the DA for the Western Cape specifically, they need to focus on the unemployed, especially the young people, the graduates, and focus on the security issues of our communities, because security is compromised in our country.
A few reactions coming there from the Century City station. Of course, Corbin has since moved elsewhere and is standing by for us now. Corbin, good evening to you. Where are you at the moment, and what are people saying about the results that have come in so far?
Good evening, Vanessa, and good evening to the viewers. Well, we are currently standing at the bus terminus here at the Grand Parade in Cape Town, CBD. It's a day after the elections and it's been business as usual. Behind us we have some commuters who are making their way home from work, and we have some people coming over, and from what we've been hearing, we've been speaking to the people who have been coming past, and what they've been saying, we've got some mixed reactions from all the people that we spoke to. Some are happy that the DA is in the lead, and they are happy that the DA looks set to control the province for yet another term. And there are others who would prefer the ANC to be winning. Some others also said that the EFF would be a good bet. So this is some of the reactions that we got from the people who have been here so far. And we've also got we've spoken to some people who've said that they chose not to vote at all because they felt like it wouldn't even be making a difference if they did vote. So these are some of the feelings, some of the reactions that have been coming out from the people making their way home this evening. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Corbin. And of course, we'll touch on the issue of people having come out to cast their ballots a little later on in the program. Now, the West Coast has once again lived up to its reputation of having a carnival atmosphere during election time. The DA proved dominant at around 50%. The ANC garnered 32%. The Freedom Front Plus picked up 5%, and the EFF 3.5%. Our reporter Craig Murray filed this report.
Supporters from all parties partied into the night in a peaceful manner. The West Coast, renowned for its carnival atmosphere during election time, didn't disappoint, although voter turnout was down like around the rest of the country. Both the ANC and DA supporters claimed victory and were hopeful that their vote would bring about change.
We are very grateful that the ANC won this time because DA it was doing very bad things to us. Electricity, water, even our houses, you can see that area. We are staying in that area. The DA has forced us to take our hockeys, and then they want to remove us from there. So we are very grateful that there will be change.
The people here in Metropolis would like that the municipality has to change because they're still living in informal settlements, and they do not have waters, and they don't have toilets, proper toilets, and all the roads and everything. So if the ANC would make a change in this West Coast, maybe in Saldanha also, there can be a change, because now under the DA municipality we have, there's nothing going on.
I'm very happy because the DA won. I never had any doubt that we will win, and I'm very happy.
Baie bly om te gewen het en te gebouwd het. En gister aan Langebaan toe was het 'n blou vlam ding.
The ANC leadership up the West Coast was scathing about the DA and claimed that although the DA won, change was coming and was inevitable.
As the ANC, we are very happy about the turnout of our voters to at least push the DA to a margin that is even less than 50%. So it is very nice that we can continue in this manner so that our voters are really seeing what the DA has been doing for many years. That is the issue that our people are crying for, that the DA is blocking development in our poor areas but giving all its budget to areas that afford. That is the issue that is the main. There's issues of electricity that it increases them, and it is bylaws that are anti-poor.
The DA, on the other hand, were happy with the results, although they observed the gains made by the Freedom Front Plus.
Well, from the DA in the West region, Western Cape, we're extremely proud to say that we've won 9 out of the 10 constituencies in the West region. I'm extremely proud. Some of our traditional votes did go in the direction of the Freedom Plus, but we still managed to hold on, and actually in some cases we did increase, and in some cases we did decrease, but we've done extremely well.
The people up the West Coast have voted, and everyone seems to be happy with the results, but much work needs to be done. The carnival atmosphere, however, remains in place. Craig Murray, SABC News, Saldanha, up the West Coast.
So with some reactions and in some instances celebrations already coming in, Prof, perhaps I'll turn to you now. How important will it be for supporters as well as political parties to accept the election results?
Yeah, so we've heard perspectives of different supporters in the different political parties. The results are not finalized yet, and I think it's critically important that the outcome be respected and accepted. And the other aspect is that we've seen a lot of issues being raised around the process of voting with the IEC. It's very important that those questions do be raised, but at the same time we need to ask about the response of the IEC, and we need to ask, is there any sign of malicious intent? And from my perspective, and I think the other analysts that I've been listening to, is that it's not malicious intent. There were operational issues, and it's around voting, not necessarily around counting. And also we've seen a very substantive response from the IEC. So I think, you know, at the end of it, we've got a robust system. And I think, as I say, it's very important that all supporters of all parties accept the outcome.
Thank you, Prof. We'll chat to you in a short while again. Of course, in the Overstrand municipality of the Overberg district in the Western Cape, residents of the coastal town of Hermanus expressed their satisfaction with yesterday's voting process. The Land Party, born in Zwelihle, just outside Hermanus, was one of the new small parties to contest the elections for the first time. Our reporter Mariska Botha joins me now from the beautiful coastal town of Hermanus. Mariska, I understand that the residents of Zwelihle are satisfied with their showing, but are hoping for an increased representation at the next municipal elections.
Yes, indeed, Vanessa, you are exactly right. Look, we were in one part of Zwelihle where we knew we would find or possibly find people that were supporters of the Land Party, and we were exactly right. And I must tell you, the people that we spoke to this morning were very, very excited, telling us that they gave the ANC a run for their money. And we saw some results from the polling stations in Zwelihle, but as was explained, nothing is final yet. But it certainly seems from the figures that we saw that on a provincial level, at least in Zwelihle only, of the 5 voting districts that we saw results for, that it seems that the Land Party has done very well. And of course that's exactly what they expressed to us. The one person actually saying the Land Party has landed, and that sort of sums it up about how they feel about it. And then he also told us, the same gentleman, that come the municipal elections, they hope to get a decent representation when the local government elections come around. So in their eyes and in their minds, the Land Party is here to stay.
Mariska, just before I let you go, I'm here in the studio at the IEC's Provincial Operations Centre in Cape Town. Of course, you are enjoying quite a different view at the moment. What a beautiful sunset.
Yes, we thought to mix things up a little bit for our viewers who've been watching. We've been coming to you from parking lots, from inside halls, from outside halls, from inside voting stations. And we thought tonight, let's maybe do that beautiful sunset shot for you so that you can see what Hermanus is renowned for. It's this absolute fantastic beauty that you see here in the background, known for its whales and known for its beauty. And I tell you, everybody that visits this town absolutely love these views. And we've had the privilege to be here for the past 4 days, and we've also enjoyed it, and we hope our viewers enjoy that little snippet of this beauty.
Well, we of course are extremely jealous because you're experiencing that sunset and we're not, but thank you very much, Mariska Botha, out there in Hermanus. Now, the Provincial IEC Results Centre has been a hub of activity today as political party representatives keep a keen eye on the results board. My colleague Bulelani Philip is standing by with a number of those political parties. Bulelani.
Well, thank you so much, Vanessa. As you've said, I'm on the floor of the IEC Centre here in the Western Cape. Of course, 79% of the votes have been declared by the IEC, as announced this afternoon. Of course, the DA is still up in the front with about 55%. The ANC is just above 28%. The EFF is at 3.72%. Good is at 3.12%. ACDP is at 2%. And the FF Plus 1.74%. Of course, the other 42 political parties all remaining under 1%. Of course, I'm going to ask my cameraman to come with me. We're going to just try and get some reaction from the political parties that are on the floor. I'm going to ask you, Faiz Jacobs, the Secretary of the ANC in the Western Cape. At 28%, not quite the outcome you were looking for.
Yes, no, thanks, Bulelani. We just broke my fast now, but we are seeing that many voting districts are still out in our base area. We just counted 256 in our predominantly Mfuleni, Kailicha, Philippi area. It's still out, so it's too early to call currently.
All right, thanks. I'm going to speak to you a bit later just to get a comprehensive assessment on the results here in the Western Cape. Of course, we move along now to check the DA, still remaining the biggest party in the province. The provincial leader is Bonginkosi Madikizela. Mr. Madikizela, you must be happy. Your campaign seems to have strengthened your stronghold here.
No, we are very happy as a Democratic Alliance, and I think credit must go to all those voters who brave the weather. You know, yesterday stood in a long queues to make sure that they cast their vote for the DA, and also to our activists. I mean, to be where we are now, you know, considering some of the challenges we had, I mean, it's quite pleasing.
All right, thanks. I'm going to be speaking to you again also a bit later, just to check in terms of a comprehensive understanding of the results. The EFF also coming in at third with 3.72. Are you happy with that, Melikaya Klego?
So far, we are happy with the outcome. We are disappointed with the voter turnout of yesterday in areas where we were experiencing unrest, such as Platinum Bay. So, but we are happy with what we have in hand.
not quite the outcome you were looking for as the government in waiting?
No, we are here to ensure that we shift the balance of forces. We will always be regarded as kingmakers everywhere we are going. So cannot be too hard on ourselves. We have done relatively well.
All right, thank you so much. All the best in this coming administration. Of course, we're going to be getting more reaction as the evening goes because the results are still being captured. Of course, as I said earlier, 79% of them have been captured. Again, about 20% of them still needs to be verified and captured. The biggest thing that is something that we must note is that the biggest municipality in the Western Cape, the city of Cape Town, those results have not yet come through. And they are the ones that normally make the deciding vote as to who wins this province or not. But as things stand now, the DA is still in charge. On that note, Vanessa, I'll take it back to you.
Thank you very much, Bulelani. Prof, so the DA now is set for another term. That if anything, nothing changes, that would take the DA through three successive terms in the Western Cape. What does this mean for the province? What does this mean for the continuation of governance here?
So if they do get the result that they're hoping for, there would be a measure of stability, I think. So if they had gone under the 50% mark, then there's a scramble in terms of finding coalition partners. So yes, they would then have another term, there would be a measure of stability. On the other hand, at national level, we talk about having the same party in governance in successive elections and the level of responsiveness or lack of responsiveness. So I think for the DA, they need to be cognizant that they do still need to be responsive to the electorate and to the population at large and not take the result for granted.
And while we're in the Western Cape, let's stay here. So the ANC is saying that quite a large number of districts, for example, in their traditional strongholds have not yet been declared. So we can see some sort of shift. Would it be a marginal shift in the outcome, do you think?
I think we'd have to wait and see. I mean, we heard Faiz Jacobs mention that there's certain strongholds of theirs that's not being counted yet. So whether we see an upset or not, I think we need to wait until the metro results come in.
Can I ask you then, Prof, what you make of the Good Party? Brand new, first time contesting elections, almost on par with the EFF in the Western Cape at least. What do you attribute this performance to?
Well, I think the leader of the party has a particular following, and so the party itself doesn't necessarily have a track record, but the party has, Patricia de Lille has a track record of sorts. She's been very visible in the public domain, she's been active on the campaign trail. Maybe there are people that are disaffected with the Democratic Alliance that decided to give their vote to her. So she certainly, and the party certainly has changed the dynamic in the province.
Will the ACDP, for example, be disappointed that at this stage it looks as though, they would have moved down in the pecking order if one were?
I think they certainly would be disappointed. They were also quite active on the campaign trail, and I think they invested quite a lot in the Western Cape as a province. So I think there would be a measure of disappointment.
Thank you very much, Prof. So, of course, our reporters all over the Western Cape over the past few days, and our reporter, Abra Barbia, is in Packlesdorp in George. Abra, very warm good evening to you. So, results coming in, what are residents telling you? Are they satisfied thus far? What would they like to see, of course, once every single vote is counted and tallied?
Vanessa, I'm not going to let you take my word for it. Why don't I show you what the residents think about the outcome here in George? Hoe voel julle oor die verkiesings outcome? Well, there you have it. the residents of Pakkelsdorp who came out in their numbers and voted for the DA are, of course, celebrating today. They're very happy about the outcome here in Pakkelsdorp in George. But to tell me more about how the DA has been campaigning and exactly what the feel on the ground is, I'm going to speak to Rayben Vigland of the DA in Pakkelsdorp. He's a councillor, ne? Yes, he's a councillor and he's obviously been working very, very hard for this outcome today. Raymond, jy kan in Afrikaans met my praat. Just tell me, this is just a small percentage of people who you've been talking to. What is the feeling across the ground? I'm sure everybody's really excited.
Ja, nee, baie dankie eerstens vir die geleentheid. Die kiesers op die grond het gepraat. Die kiesers het gesê hulle is gelukkig met die DA. Hulle het vir hulle stem vir ons weergegee vir 5 jaar en die kontrak van die DA is dit waarmee ons met hulle ingaan. Pakkelsdorp se mense het gewys dat daar net een party is vir hulle en die party is die DA. Hulle het vir ons gewys. Hulle hou by die blou en die groter George het saam met hulle gestem. So ons het baie dankie vir die kiesers dat hulle weer vir ons die geleentheid gegee het.
Raymond, ek het vroeër met 'n DA dame gepraat. Sy het ook gestem vir die DA natuurlik en sy het vir my gesê, I just hope that they are going to stick to their promises. I've given them my vote. I just hope they're going to do what they promised me. Gaan julle doen wat julle beloof?
Die DA is natuurlik 'n party wat kan wys dat ons trek rekord het ons goed doen. Wanneer ons vir 'n kiezer sê dat ons met hulle 'n kontrak aangaan, is dit presies wat ons gaan doen. En waar ons dit nie doen nie, is ons die eerstes wat sal optree indien dit nie gebeur nie. So ons verseker elke kiezer daar buite dat ons beslis gaan hou by dit wat ons vir hulle gesê het. En daarvoor sê ons weer eens baie dankie vir elke kiezer in George.
I know you have probably been working very, very hard over the last few weeks leading up to yesterday, but the work doesn't end now, the work starts now. What happens going forward now?
Hiervandaan af gaan ons dit vir die kiesers wys van die Weskaap en van George dat hulle die regte keuse gemaak het. En 'n premier soos Ellen Wendy wat bekend staan as die jobs premier, gaan ons probeer om hierdie ekonomie van die land en van die Weskaap natuurlik beter vorentoe te vat. Ons lei in dienslewering compare met alle ander provinsies hierso. Ons het gewys wat ons kan doen in die verlede en ons gaan net bou op dit wat ons gedoen het.
Raymond, since I've been in George, I've been hearing a lot about how George has been growing a lot over the last few months. 50 to 75 families are moving in here every single month. This obviously puts strain on housing, on services, on school, on health. Are these things that are going to be on the top of your agenda going forward?
Die plaaslike munisipaliteit is juis in die proses om ons IDP en ons budget te hersien. En dit is 'n budget vir die mense wat juis dinge gaan aanspreek soos die verbetering van ons infrastruktuur. Die rede hoekom die mense George so kom is eenvoudig. Die DA regeer en wat die DA regeer gaan dit goed. Ons lewer dienste vir die mense en dis hoekom mense na George kom. Maar ja, daar is 'n plan. Die begrotings word so aangepas sodat ons kan voorsien aan die behoeftes van die mense.
Raymond Vigland, baie dankie vir jou tyd. Vanessa, there you have it. Not from my mouth. The people of Pakkelsdorp in George are extremely happy this evening. Of course, they should be. Their party is in power again. So there you have it.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Abra. Of course, hearing the shouts of excitement coming there from the residents, or at least the supporters of the Democratic Alliance in Pakkelsdorp. Now, with a voter turnout of roughly 65% in the province, in future elections, how could we have, for example, what more could have been done, Prof, to get those people who have opted against participating this time round to join the election process?
In actual fact, that 65% is 65% of people who registered. So when you take the proportion of people who are eligible, it's actually much lower than the 65%. So it is something that we need to be concerned about. And I think the most important thing is what political parties do between now and the next election. So in the campaign period, it's quite conflictual, it's very intense, etc. And then as Abra says, the focus needs to shift to governance and the hard work of governance. Unfortunately, in the Western Cape, we've seen that conflictual mode actually carry on after the election period, particularly between the DA and the ANC. And you know, there needs to be a move beyond that. There needs to be looking at the substantive problems that the province faces. I don't believe that any party has a monopoly on the solutions to the problems that we face, and that is how we draw voters back in. It's not necessarily through a sophisticated election campaign. It is through hard work and making a difference in the lives of people, even for the smaller parties that didn't maybe come in. Food security is a very big issue. There's a lot that can be done, even if a party is not in power. And so those are the kind of things I think that would draw people back in. But then also if we look at younger voters, the logistics around registering. So when they get their ID card, maybe a question around, do you want to register, do you want to not register, and facilitating and streamlining those processes. I think we need to look more innovatively at that.
Thank you, Prof. Of course, just wrapping up for us, what could be done in the future to get more citizens, not just in this province, but also in the country, to participate in elections and its processes. We now turn our focus to the Little Carew and its small towns, which seldom make headlines. Disselsdorp is a settlement which lies 23 kilometers east of Oudtshoorn and was established in the 1800s. Originally a mission station, it's since seen a growth in population. Our reporter Segri Chetty filed this report.
Disselsdorp lies against the backdrop of the magnificent Swartberg mountain range. It's surrounded by agricultural and crop farms. Most residents here are seasonal farm workers. 12,000 residents live in the area. There are also 4 expanding informal settlements. Houses were last handed over to residents in 1995.
I'm living here for around about 9 years, minimum 9 years. And we were always fighting for houses, but we don't really get answers here. To me, it's very difficult because we're struggling. We don't have no power around here. We have no running water.
It's not comfortable for my children here. The toilet here is making us sick. At the taps, we all have to get water. There's 5 families that use one toilet, and I don't use the toilet, I use my bucket.
Community leaders like Leon Camphor have been fighting for improved service delivery for a long time.
These houses was given to the owners in 95, which means the houses was built during the apartheid years, and no houses after 94. That means that the apartheid government was better off for Disselsdorp than the recent government. That's why we say there's no way that they can come and explain to us why they didn't start building houses over these years.
About 20 kilometers down the road on the outskirts of Oudtshoorn is the community of Rose Valley. 5 years ago, it was a massive informal settlement. But today, nearly 1,000 RDP homes have been built. Residents say they struggled for 8 years before getting houses.
And so we persevered through the wind, through the rain. Our circumstances weren't good, and we used buckets, but we pushed through.
Camphor says it's a shame that 24 years later, Disselsdorp residents are still demanding houses. He's approached farmers in the area who've indicated they are willing to sell their land to the Oudtshoorn municipality.
They're not going to use the land for agriculture or whatever. They told me that the municipality can buy the land from them and they can build houses. And on that land, I know there can be about between 500 and 700 houses can be on that land. Up until today, they never contacted the owners of those land.
Disselsdorp residents have also approached the public protector to get answers to their housing crisis. Segri Chetty, SABC News, Disselsdorp, outside of Oudtshoorn in the Little Carew.
Disselsdorp residents will be hoping for some development in the area between now and the next election. Prof, how important is the distinction between the rural and the urban vote?
So I think, people living in rural areas do face very distinct challenges. There are some areas where there's overlap. So, for example, housing was mentioned, unemployment is mentioned. But there is something about living in a remote area, infrastructure, roads, etc. And so there is that important distinction, and I think political parties need to be cognizant of that. And more importantly, they need to not forget people in the rural areas. They need to attempt to extend their reach, whether it be organizationally, with their structures and so on. But as I say, very important that they don't forget about people in the rural areas.
Staying in the Little Carew, where the popular Route 62 between Oudtshoorn and Ladysmith is littered with tiny settlements. These hidden gems are havens for tourists on a journey of discovery. Route 62 also encompasses bigger towns such as Calitzdorp, Zoar and Ladysmith. Sabri Chetty has more.
As you begin your journey on Route 62, your first stop is the small settlement of Volmut. It's off the beaten track and not far from Oudtshoorn. One of these hidden gems is the Yulis family property. They've lived here for over 100 years, constructing their homes from slate found in the veld. In spite of their beautiful stone homes, they want proper housing with all the amenities.
We did apply for RDP houses, but it keeps getting rejected. In 1996 was the last application. Everybody applied for houses. Our children are growing up. It's difficult staying here.
Further along Route 62 are the sister towns of Amalienstein and Zoar. Both were mission stations in the early 1800s. They've also been hard hit by drought, but recent rains have replenished the dams. The youth are concerned about the high rate of unemployment in the area.
It's difficult getting work here. Work is very scarce. There aren't a lot of job opportunities. The reason I'm going to vote is with the hope that we as the youth, we will get better opportunities.
In Zoar, there was excitement in the air with the special votes.
Why I'm voting is because of my grandchildren, for their future. That what I didn't have is for them now. And why I'm voting is for that which we couldn't get, and what we want must happen.
Dat ons nie kon gekry het nie en dat ons wil hê moet gebeur.
The IEC has already moved into these rural towns to ensure that residents from these outlying farming communities can also make their mark on election day. Segwi Chetty, SABC News, Zoar in the Little Carew.
So in this broadcast, we've had some reactions from various areas across the Western Cape, as well as some of the political parties, and especially the top four as we speak at the moment. Just in closing, Prof, what do these political parties, but not just the parties themselves, the voters as well, take away from this election?
Well, I think maybe for the parties, it's that people in South Africa are still committed to democracy, you know, whether they voted or not. And over in the clips we've heard political parties, the leaders are only coming out when it's election time. And so I think political parties need to take heed of that and not only be around when it's election time. And yeah, I think, you know, there's a lot of work that still needs to be done in the country as well. So I like to use the analogy of we're running a marathon. You know, we're not running a short race, and so while we might all feel fatigued over here, we might be cynical in terms of what's been happening politically and so on. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. And with a marathon, it's a long race, so we need to be resilient, we need to all lean in, and that would include political parties and the population as well.
So, Prof, just in closing then, of course, as it stands at the moment, the top four, the Democratic Alliance, with the lion's share of the vote at this point in time, followed closely by the ANC, and then, of course, the Good Party and the EFF seeming to be more or less on par. And was this expected, in closing, in the run-up to yesterday?
Look, I think it is to be expected. The DA is the incumbent party in the province, and so they have a substantial advantage. They're able to talk about their track record, they're able to talk about governance, etc. They've got quite a good campaign machinery. The province has always been volatile in terms of voting patterns. So up until that results are declared, I would wait and see that there's no surprises, but yes, I think it was to be expected. Just in closing as well, to say that one would hope that we could see even cooperation between political parties at provincial level, which we've not really seen. As I say, there's been this fractious conflictual relationship, but if you think of the issues that we face as a province, we really need to move beyond that. Whether parties are able to do that remains, of course, another question. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Professor Cheryl Africa, there, of course, giving us some analysis as the last votes in the province will be counted. And that, of course, wraps up our special online broadcast on the SABC News YouTube channel. From the team here in the Western Cape, it's good night.